Hey out there, it's EmmaSara here. Alright, just getting the camera ready here. How's everybody doing today? I'm EmmaSara. I'm a health coach, lifestyle coach, I'm a professional gluten-free chef, but I'm definitely not a doctor, as you have heard me say before. Everything that I teach is for educational purposes only, and I want to see you get healthy, I want to see you get well, I want to see you have a vibrant life. So, I want to know how many of you guys have ever felt deprived on a diet plan or just in general with food? Have you ever felt that feeling of just feeling deprived? Okay, if you knew what it feels like to be deprived, put a number 1 on the hey Amy. So go ahead and just put a 1 if you felt deprived. Melissa, you have felt deprived. I don't know many people who haven't dealt with feeling deprived before. Love this song, Intentional. Intentional. Amy, you have felt deprived. Well, we're going to talk about that subject today. We're going to be talking about the difference between self-denial and deprived, feeling deprived. Hey, Kathy, she made it on. All right. It's going to be a good one today. Self-denial versus deprived. Kathy, have you ever felt deprived before? I'll give her a second to answer because honestly I know what she's going to say. I know Kathy, okay? It's not a foreign thing to feel deprived, especially when you're trying to be healthy. Hey, Sabrina. Sabrina, have you ever felt deprived before? Kathy says yes with exclamation marks. She has felt deprived. Today we're going to be looking at the difference between the two, self-denial and deprived. So many times people say, you know, they don't want to try anything new because they don't want to feel deprived. They don't want to do any new eating plans. A little, yeah, Sabrina has felt a little deprived, and sometimes probably more than others, right, Sabrina? So we'll go ahead and get started right now. And I just want to thank everybody for joining me. And remember, you guys are always welcome to put comments in the comment line, and I'll try to answer as I go, okay? So the first thing we'll look at here is the definition. I want to give you guys some technical definitions. So deprived is not having the things that are needed for a good or healthy life, or lacking something that is needed to live the way most people live, okay? So it's lacking something, a need, and self-denial, on the other hand, is sacrifice of one's own desires and interests. So the act of restraining or curbing one's own desires. And that's really a show of unselfishness. And so deprived, so we're going to look at them like on a balance here. Just imagine deprived is on this hand. We'll say deprived on this hand, and we'll say self-denial is going to be on this hand over here. So on the deprived side, you have, it has to do with something not being available. You know, a lot of times we say that poor people are often deprived of, you know, basic necessities or housing or proper schooling or education or whatever. And so that's more like something that they don't have a choice about it. You know, when they're deprived, something has been taken away from them. It has to do with something being taken away and them not having an equal opportunity for something. That is the definition of deprived. And that is, that's not the technical definition. That's what I'm giving to you all so that you guys can be weighing this side of deprived over here. Now, self-denial over here is about personal choice. And see, there's a difference there, because one is about not having a choice, things not being given to them, and things being taken away. And so you can see very clearly that one is about, I don't have a choice, you know, things are being taken away. And the other one is saying, I actually am choosing to not do something or not take something. It's a character builder, okay? So self-denial is a character builder. It will actually build character. And as a matter of fact, if you are a follower of Christ, it's actually commanded in Matthew 16:24. So that makes it self-denial an actual virtue, okay? On the other hand, when you are feeling deprived, you know, rather than being a character builder over here, normally what it does is show a character flaw, okay? So this one's showing a character flaw, attitude, you know, when needs are not met, you see people's true colors come out. And Sabrina says that food allergies often leave people feeling deprived, though, because they can't have certain foods. And that's absolutely correct, Sabrina. And we're going to be hitting that in just a second here. Just a commercial here. I'm drinking my chlorophyll water. And can you get my chlorophyll really quick? And I'm going to just take a quick break here. One of my last videos, I was talking to you guys about upping your game and to add chlorophyll to your water because it's a great detoxifier. I'm doing a liver detox this week, and it's a body deodorizer. It is great with phytonutrients. And anyway, I want to show you the bottle because I bought another bottle this last week. I wanted to try a different brand, and I had told you to get any brand, that it probably wouldn't matter, and it does matter. I went back to my old brand. I did not like the one I bought. I told you guys to be a label reader, and I guess I didn't read the label, but it had glycerin in it. It had what, I don't know. It just didn't. It wasn't quality. Okay, so I'm going to just show you this one. It's D'Souza's liquid chlorophyll. Okay, so that is the one that I like. So if you guys want to write that down, it's D'Souza's. Okay, and this is the one that I didn't like. Sorry, Nature's Way. This is Nature's Way Chlorofresh. Okay, didn't care for that one. Anyway, that's just a little side note. So back to where we are again. Okay, so we have deprived, we have self-denial. Okay, so thank you. And so basically what I wanted to share with you guys is the difference today. And I really want you guys to get a handle on this, because if you can get a handle on the difference between being deprived and practicing self-denial, you're going to leave this video so empowered. You're going to feel so good about the decisions you're making. And most of all, I want it to impact not just you, but I want it to impact your whole household and your family and your children. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about self-denial right now. And so, you know, so deprived over here is, you know, and a lot of times we need an attitude adjustment, and self-denial is a lot of times we're actually choosing the attitude that we're going to have towards something. And so I don't know, I like to be somebody who feels empowered. I like to feel like I have freedom, like I have choices, like I have ability, I have strength. And so I'd rather operate in the area of having choice, of being able to do things. And so I like to operate in the area of self-denial. I like to make a choice to not do something rather than to feel like somebody's taking a choice away from me. And so for our family, I just wanted to show you, give you an example of what self-denial looks like being acted out in a family, in our household. And I do want to preface this by saying that what we do in our household, we're unique and we're different, and every family is unique and different. And Kathy says this is what she needs. And so Kathy, this is for you, girl. So, so don't think that I'm telling anybody you have to do these things. This is the McMillan household. We're a compelled family. We have compelled life, and this is what we do, okay? You don't have to do these things. You have your own standards. And Kathy, you're going to like this one, okay? We have standards. We try not to have expectations because expectations ruin relationships, but the McMillans have standards. And these are some of our standards. And I just want to make the correlation now, Kathy, for you is that self-denial will correlate with having standards, okay? And this is, once again, empowering you, and it'll help make you feel empowered. And so here we go. So the first thing is that we practice self-denial in a whole bunch of different levels. This is not just about food anymore. It's actually a lifestyle. And I think I've mentioned that to y'all before, that self-denial can actually be a lifestyle. And so one of the things that we practice self-denial with is there are certain places that the McMillans just don't go, or there's certain things that we just don't do that are maybe really typical for most families with little children or with children to do. We choose not to do them. I'm going to give you an example here. Is my son, when he was 13, some of you guys know, we sold our home in the country, beautiful home in the country. We got rid of a ton of our stuff, like most of our stuff, like probably 85% of our stuff, maybe more. And anyway, we've been living in an RV the last since May of 2014, June 2014. And anyway, we've done a lot of traveling, and as you can imagine, we go to a lot of RV parks. And one of the RV parks, we really loved it. We stayed there for a couple of months. It had a beautiful pool, and it was just gorgeous. And it was in Sacramento, and it was very hot, like 112, 113, perfect swim weather. But it was so neat because my 13-year-old son, you know, starting to go through those stages in life, he made a decision on his own. This was not something that I put upon him. It's not something that Daddy talked to him specifically about, but he's in our household. He's raised with us, and so he came up with this on his own. But we were swimming one day, and I just remember, and we do have standards. I mean, if somebody comes in, you know, that's looking for attention in a swimsuit and a bikini and, you know, falling out everywhere, we will choose to, as a family, get up and practice self-denial, and the swimming is done. And that's something we do as a family. But he took it, like, extra. Like, we were still swimming. I didn't, you know, I saw, yes, maybe some people in little bikinis that were younger, or anyway, I wasn't seeing a huge problem with it, but my son, I was swimming, and I'll never forget looking over and seeing my son get up and say, Mama, you know, I'm done drying myself off. And then he like kind of leans down and talks to me in my ear, and he said, oh, that girl's in a bikini. And I looked over and I thought, well, it's not really like a super immodest bikini. It looked like it was covering, you know, all the right places. And he said, I've made a commitment to Yahweh that I want to protect and guard my eyes, and I'm going to practice self-denial with my eyes. And anyway, I was so blessed by this practice of self-denial that we decided that every time he got up, that we would all get up as a family and we would all practice self-denial. Now, I am telling you, that is self-denial, because when it's 112 outside and it's dry heat, nothing sounds better than being in the swimming pool. I can tell you, we missed many, many, many days of swimming while we were there, many hours of swimming, but, you know, the Father was good. He opened up enough windows where we could go swimming when we could. And that's just, and why am I talking about this right now? We're talking about food and diet, and all of a sudden I throw this in, like, why is this even important? It's important because if you can't change the way you eat, you can't change your life. And if you can't change the way you think, then you can't change what you do. And so it's all correlated, it's all connected, it's all synergistic. And so when you practice self-denial with what you put in your mouth, you can practice self-denial with what you look at, and you can practice self-denial with what you do. And so those are all tools that we're always sharing with our kids. And so, and we practice self-denial with what we eat. I posted a picture, some of you all seen this, sorry, can I move that out of the way? The picture, of some of you guys seen it today, it was self-denial versus deprived, and it was a picture of a really decadent looking chocolate cake. And many of you who know me know that cake wasn't filled with junk. It wasn't filled with sugar. It wasn't filled with all kinds of bad saturated fats. Melissa says, I love your comment not only to self-denial as a family, but support of one another, each of your individual choices in self-denial. And that's, we really like to support one another. And the McMillans, we move together, we breathe together, we play instruments together, we sell at the market together, we are together. And it's like, you know, a lot of people, you know, I'm going to take a quick commercial here. This is also on self-denial. Okay, we live in an RV. We have this building now that we're using for housing because I'm not doing my business anymore, so we've been able to, you know, spread our wings a little bit. But we're about to embark on starting, moving onto our property. We bought 100 acres, and we tried to drill a well on it in January, and it came up dry, like bone dry, and that was over $30,000 just went down that hole. And some of you guys don't know this, but hey, Nikki, is we have, as a family, we this is our, like I said, our own personal conviction. We have nothing against anybody else who does things differently than us in these areas. It's between you and your maker. Hey, Lisa. So we have, as a family, decided that when we sold our home, we're completely debt-free. We were already debt-free before, minus a little, not a little, we had a second on our house. That was the only debt we had. All our vehicles, everything, we've always been debt-free for some years now. But now we decided when we sold our home that we were going to do everything debt-free. And so we are on a limited income, and we have 9 kids, we live in an RV, we spent almost all of our money to buy our land, and then we put all the rest of our money down a hole that didn't produce water. And so right now, the McMillans, we live a life of self-denial. I mean, if we wanted to, we could go start, you know, we could go spend money and go get a house if we wanted to, and do what most people do, and, you know, start, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for us, you know, it's our personal conviction. You know, you can't make the McMillans go out and say, you know, it's terrible, you guys should go get in debt and go get a house, because we like the freedom of not being in debt. We'd rather live scrunched and uncomfortable and be debt-free than be a slave to debt and have a big home. And so that's our personal conviction. But why am I telling you this? Why am I telling you this? Because it's about our lifestyle. It's about self-denial. And so I want to come back again and say, so another thing that we teach, another area, okay? And so another area of self-denial is the mouth, okay? So there's a scripture that says it's not what goes into a man's mouth that defiles him, or in this case, a woman's mouth that defiles her, but it's what comes out. And so, you know, yes, we watch what we put into our mouth, but it's, you know, if we're like putting all this good stuff and healthy stuff, but we're filled with bitterness and angry and hostile and critical and whatever, our health is never going to shine. This is a challenge. I'm trying to give a message to y'all that it's a 21-day challenge to be well and vibrant and abundant mind, body, and spirit. And so this message today is encompassing all those areas because it's touching every one of those areas. To be practicing self-denial, it's empowering. It's because nobody's making you do it. You're making a choice. You're standing up and you're saying, I'm going to make this choice, and I don't care if somebody else is eating these things. Hey, Norma, it's a self-denial is saying, I don't care if the rest of the world is doing this. You know, I'm going to stand. I tell my kids, you know, they know their mama, and some of you guys know me really well, but I'm a stand-alone kind of gal. Like, I don't need anybody else in the room to stand up. If I have a conviction, I do what I feel convicted to do, and every one of us should lead our lives on conviction. And so self-denial comes right back in there. And so for self-denial, we teach our kids to have self-denials with their lips. And so, quick little drink here. Thank you. So one of the things we teach them is that it shows way stronger character to hold your mouth and to hold your opinions, especially if your opinions are hurtful. Just hold your opinions, because it takes much more restraint and self-denial to zip a lip than it does to vomit your opinions if they're not said in love. And the key word there is love. If, you know, we have an opinion. You know, I share a lot of opinions with y'all, so you guys are like, what about you, EmmaSara? You know, I share a lot of opinions with you guys, okay? Let me tell you, I do it because I love you. I'm not here to judge you or criticize you. Like I said, it's between you and your maker. I'm here just to give you tools to lead a vibrant and a life that is full with glory, you know? And so I believe, you know, I know that not all my viewers here are followers of Christ, but I just want to tell you that I believe this with my whole heart, is that God's ways work, okay? And I believe that across the board, is that God's ways work for anyone who practices God's ways, that there is a blessing that comes with that, whether you're ethical or you're kind. I do believe that there's a special grace that comes with that. And so, and I believe it's because God's ways work, okay? So coming back to it, self-denial, okay? You might say, you know, don't your kids feel deprived because they don't have their own room? Okay, I'm not going to tell you that my kids don't wish for a room right now. Okay, I have kids that are like sardines, and, you know, beds that are buckling because my kids are getting heavy, and I have kids that are like packed like sardines laying next to each other, and they don't get the best sleep sometimes because they're rolling and hitting each other, and, you know, it's like a kid bomb sometimes. But I have told my daughter, she's going to be 17 in August. She has told me so many times, and she is, I want to tell you, there's a pioneer and there's a settler. A settler doesn't like to move. They don't like change. They want to be planted. And then there's a pioneer, and pioneers like to go and explore and be exciting. And my husband and I are both pioneers, and so we like to go, you know, we don't have to be stuck. We like exciting things, especially when we feel that the Father is leading us. We get super excited, and we're like, let's go. Well, my daughter, I told you about my son earlier. He's 15 now. My daughter, she's going to be 17, and she was my pioneer, and she wasn't really sure about doing this big move, and she wasn't sure if she was going to be able to handle. She also has space issues. She doesn't really like being squished with people. You know, she has that space thing. And I just want to tell you that pioneer. She's a settler. Sorry, my daughter. Have another one confusing me. So my daughter is a settler normally. Okay. She didn't want to move, but now we're here. And this is what she told me. I'm telling you, within the last month, she came to me and she said, Mama, she said, I would not give this time for anything. She said, I have enjoyed it. And she said, you know, I've been talking to some friends back home that, you know, they're doing the same thing, you know, and everything's the same after year after year. She said, I decided, I think I've turned into a pioneer. And she said, I wouldn't give my lifestyle for anything, Mama. I love it. Okay. And she's the one that's squished on the bottom in between a board and a hard place, and she sleeps there, and she said I wouldn't change it for anything. And so anyway, this is why I'm telling you guys this. Why? Because it will impact your life. It'll impact your kids' life. If you can deny what goes into your mouth, you know, with just food, then you can start. If your kids can go buy a candy bowl and not be like, gotta get the candy, and be like, you know, do I really need that? It's so neat when a kid can sit back and say, let me consider if this is really going to be good for me. Okay, that you're giving your child a gift, and you're giving that child a gift that many kids these days don't even have. Kids are so like, me now, I want it, and they're impatient. And you know, I want to tell you this story about my 15-year-old. We do mama bucks in our house, and so if they do good things, David, can you give me my jar, please? If they do good things, I reward them and I'll give them a mama buck. If they do something super, super spectacular, I will give them a green mama buck, okay? Every Shabbat, which is every Saturday, we draw out of that jar and somebody will grab out of it. What do they win? If they're the lucky winner, they will get something from Blue Water Health Store over here, and I always give them some organic kind of sugar-free, delicious goodie that they can have, whether it's an ice cream or chocolate or whatever, okay? And they love it. Anyway, I got my son a little pie, and I'm not kidding you, it's about that big, 3.5 inches approximately, and I gave him this lemon cashew vegan pie. I expected my 15-year-old to say, thanks, Ma, and you know, and be gone with it in like 2 seconds. He's a 15-year-old, he's hungry, he's growing. Can I just tell you right now, this is what will happen if you sow self-denial into your children. He took 7 days to eat that pie. He cut it into 7 portions. He had like little mini, like this small, I'm not even kidding you, this small pie portions. And some days he'd be like, oh, Mom, you know, during that week he would say, let me thank you. He would say, I'm hungry. And I would say, oh, go eat your pie. And then he'd be like, oh, but I'm saving it for dessert. And he did share, and he wanted to share with me. And anyway, this is the fruit of self-denial, y'all. I'm going to show you real quick. This is my mama buck jar, okay? So this is what mama bucks look like in my house. They get a buck, and it's actually monkey money that I printed from online. And then they have a name on the back side. And so if they do a good job, they get one of those. If they do a super good job, they get a green mama buck. And those are only drawn once a month. What do the green mama bucks do? Well, they're actually mommy and daddy's bucks. Those are super special. They get to go out to a special dinner with us, or my husband took my son camping, and I'll do a girls' night. So that's just a little side note. So we're going to be wrapping it up here. So listen, when people are deprived, they can feel angry and they can feel depressed. And I am here to tell you, I have been through that. I have felt deprived. I had food intolerances for so many years that I used to cry some days because I could not eat anything. I was 98 pounds, 2 months pregnant, I hadn't gained any weight. Everything made me sick. I got sinus infections, I got migraines, I got hives. And so at one point, I just wanted to suck my thumb, like, you know, and be like, Lord, I can't eat anything. And Melissa says if you learn to deny yourself certain foods or to fast at certain times, you can much more easily deny yourself in other areas of life. And that's exactly the premise here, okay? So anyway, sucking my thumb, and, you know, some people might say, you had it right. And, you know, I sure did. I sure thought I had it right because I was pregnant. I wanted to eat, and I couldn't eat anything, and I wasn't gaining weight. But this is what happened. I kid you not. I had a friend who lived across the street, and he ended up a freak thing, and not freak thing, but, you know, one of those odd things that just happens out of the blue. He got some kind of brain injury, some brain tumor, something. It was very traumatic. They had to operate on him, and he was I didn't know this. I knew he had the operation. I knew he was recovering, but months had gone by now, and he used to be a really big, buff, burly guy, and this day that I saw him when I was really sucking my thumb, he was all small and he was skinny, and I went to meet him at the mailbox, and I think maybe I made something and offered him some food, and he said, I'm sorry. He said, I can't eat any food. I said, well, you can't, like vegetables, meat? He said, no, I can't eat any meat. He said, I'm only allowed to drink one thing. It's one shake, and it's the only thing that I can eat that my body will tolerate. It's the only thing. It's just one thing, and it didn't even sound good, and it wasn't even solid food, and and I thought, I'm sitting here sucking my thumb because I can have steak, and I could have, a roast if I wanted to, or meatloaf, and some vegetables. You know, maybe I can't have grains, legumes, eggs, and nuts, you know, coconuts. I can't have all that stuff. I couldn't have fruit. I couldn't have bananas. I couldn't have dairy. But I could have a lot more stuff than he could have. And I went back and I just thought, it's all a matter of perspective. Okay, so this is why we're doing this. Okay, so coming to an end here, a total calm brat feeling deprived is a state of mind. Be grateful. Okay, so we can be grateful when we look at what others don't have and what we have, and that's the first thing we need to do. And so the next time you're feeling deprived, ask yourself this one question, and we're wrapping it up here, is the food beneficial for my body? If there's a food that you're going to be eating, and you're kind of going back and forth to eat it or not, is this food beneficial for my body? If it's not beneficial for you, it has food dyes, it has preservatives, it has things that you know now because you've learned in class that they're toxic to you. If they're not, empower yourself to have self-denial and make a choice willingly to deny, instead of saying, gosh, I wish I could have those McDonald's French fries that I know that are like Franken fries. We call them Franken fries because nothing at McDonald's is real. Anything that comes off the Cisco truck is like Franken food, we call it. And so anyway, make a choice. Make it your choice. Don't make it EmmaSara's choice. Don't make it your husband's choice. Make it your choice. Have ownership. and you will feel so empowered. And don't wait till, some people are so stubborn. They're like, I don't care. I'm going to keep eating this junk, keep eating this junk until the doctor says you have diabetes, you can no longer eat it, and then they can never eat it again. Okay, it's better to keep your options, to keep freedom, to keep empowered, because you've made a choice. Okay, and so if it is a food that is nutritious, but you're having difficulty tolerating it, okay, because I've been there too, be grateful for what you can have. Like I said with my friend across the street, be grateful for the foods that you can have. And then to continue on after the challenge, to help you with that self-denial lifestyle and to learn a new way, make sure that you go to facebook.com/compelledhealth. And we also just are opened up our website. It's not ready. All the stuff is still jumbled around, but you can take a look at it. It's compelledlife.com, compelledlife.com. I'm EmmaSara. I hope you enjoyed the video today, and I hope you learned something. Self-denial is a good thing. Feeling deprived feels icky and ugly. When you practice self-denial, it's empowering. It changes your life. It changes your family's life, and it will change your perspective. If you can't change what you eat, you can't change the way you think. You can't change the way you live. I'm EmmaSara. Have a good day. Bye, y'all.